Ada sat on the bench under the mango tree, her fingers nervously twisting the hem of her dress. The sun was setting, painting the sky in orange and gold, but her heart was heavy. Emeka stood a few feet away, watching her with eyes full of concern. "Say something," he whispered, kneeling beside her. She looked at him, tears brimming. "My father found out about us. He said I can't see you again." Emeka's face tightened. He had always feared this day. Ada was the daughter of Chief Okafor, one of the richest men in the village. And he was just the son of a poor farmer with calloused hands and borrowed shoes. They had met during the village festival. Emeka had been helping with the decorations, carrying baskets. Ada, curious and bold, had wandered away from the other girls and found herself laughing at his jokes. They began to meet secretly, by the stream, in the market, under this very mango tree. What started as playful conversation grew into something deep. She loved his quiet strength. He loved her fire. But now reality was knocking loudly at the door of their love, threatening to tear them apart. "I'll talk to him," Emeka said, voice steady. Ada shook her head. "He doesn't want to talk. He wants you gone." Ada couldn't sleep that night. Her father's words kept echoing in her head, loud and cruel. "That boy has nothing, no future, no name. You will not marry a beggar." She had tried to speak, but he had slammed his hand on the table. "I said enough." Her mother sat still, staring at the curtain like it held the answers. Ada felt like a stranger in her own home, a prisoner behind expensive walls. Her heart ached, not just for Emeka, but for the love her father could never understand. The next morning, she met Emeka at the mango tree. His face lit up when he saw her, but the joy in his eyes quickly faded. "What's wrong?" he asked, brushing a strand of hair from her face. She looked away, biting her lip. "My father. He said I can't see you again. He said you're not good enough." Emeka's shoulders dropped, and his hands fell from hers. For a moment, he didn't speak. Then he gave a small nod, trying to smile. "And what did you say?" he asked quietly, his voice trembling. Tears filled her eyes. "I love you," she whispered. "I don't care about money or names. I just want us." Emeka pulled her into his arms and held her tight. But even as he held her, he felt something inside him cracking. He had always known this day might come. He was just a poor boy with big dreams, loving a girl whose world rejected him. But this wasn't just love anymore. This was a battle. And he had no armor, only his heart. Word spreads fast in the small village, faster than the wind that rustles the plantain trees. By the next market day, tongues were wagging. "Have you heard? Chief Okafor's daughter is sneaking around with that poor Emeka boy," a woman whispered over a basket of tomatoes. Some laughed, others shook their heads in pity. To many, it was a scandal. Ada was supposed to marry a senator's son or some rich Lagos businessman, not a boy whose family didn't even own a proper front door. The whispers followed Ada wherever she went, like shadows she couldn't outrun. At home, the tension was unbearable. Her father now watched her every move, demanding to know where she had been and who she had seen. Her mother, though silent, looked at Ada with worry in her eyes. "You are young," she said softly one night, folding clothes. "You think love will feed you." Ada stood tall. "Mama, I'd rather be hungry with love than full and empty." Her mother sighed, the kind of sigh that holds years of regret. "I once loved someone too, but I chose comfort." "Don't be foolish like me," she said, walking away. Meanwhile, Emeka had started avoiding the tree. He didn't want to cause more trouble for Ada. He tried to stay busy, fixing bicycles, running errands, even looking for small jobs in the next village. But his heart was heavy. Every time he saw her from a distance, walking with her head down, something in him broke a little more. He wanted to fight, to prove himself worthy. But how do you fight a mountain with empty hands? He prayed, not for wealth, but for a chance, just a chance to be seen as enough. One quiet afternoon, Ada sat alone behind the house, picking dry leaves off the ground. Her heart felt heavy, her dreams uncertain. Her mother came and sat beside her, holding a tray of peeled oranges. She offered one to Ada, then spoke in a voice that was barely above a whisper. "His name was Joseph," she began. "I loved him, just like you love Emeka. But he had nothing. My father said I had to marry your father instead. Ada turned, her eyes wide with surprise. Her mother had never spoken like this before. We met in secret, just like you two. He wanted to marry me, but I was too scared to fight. I told him goodbye, and I cried for many nights. Your father gave me everything, clothes, a house, respect, but not happiness. I gave that up. She looked at Ada, her eyes glassy. I don't want you to carry the same pain I carry. Ada swallowed hard. She had always thought her mother was just quiet and obedient. Now she saw the sorrow beneath the silence, the ache of a woman who once chose fear over love. Later that night, Ada wrote a letter to Emeka. Don't give up on us, she wrote. My heart is still yours, no matter what the world says. I will find a way. Emeka found the letter 2 days later. He read it under the mango tree, and for the first time in days, he smiled. Her words were a light in his darkness, a promise that their love was still alive. Maybe, just maybe, they still had a chance. The next Sunday, Chief Okafor invited a special guest to their home, a young man named Chuka, the son of a wealthy businessman in Abuja. He wore a gold wristwatch, drove a shiny SUV, and smiled like someone who already owned the world. Ada sat stiffly beside her father as Chuka spoke loudly about his travels, his company, his future plans. Chief Okafor beamed with pride, already imagining the bride price, the headlines, and the praise from other elders. But Ada's face remained blank, her heart far away, somewhere near the mango tree, where love didn't wear a gold chain. Later that evening, her father sat her down. You will marry Chuka, he said without emotion. He has offered a bride price 3 times higher than I expected. He will take care of you. Ada stared at him in disbelief. I don't love him, she said. Love doesn't build a future, he snapped. You think Emeka can give you anything? You want to suffer in a mud house. Ada stood up, her hands trembling. I would rather suffer with Emeka than suffocate in a mansion with a stranger. But her father didn't move. This is not a choice, Ada. It is final. The next morning, Emeka got a visit from a man he didn't recognize. The man dropped an envelope on the bench beside him. From Chief Okafor, he said. Take the money and leave Ada alone. This is more than you'll ever earn fixing bicycles. Emeka opened the envelope and saw the thick wad of cash, enough to feed his entire family for months. His hands shook, not from excitement but from shame. The message was clear. He was nothing but a poor boy chasing dreams too big for him. But love wasn't something he could sell. He closed the envelope and whispered, Tell Chief I'm not for sale. That night, Ada sneaked out through the back door, her heart pounding like a drum. She ran through the narrow bush path with only the moonlight guiding her. Her slippers scraped against the ground, but she didn't stop. She needed to see him, to be held, to remember why they started. When Emeka saw her standing there under the mango tree, breathless and scared, he didn't ask questions. He just opened his arms, and she ran into them like home. They want to force me to marry someone else, she cried. But I can't. I won't. Emeka gently wiped her tears. I knew this day would come, he said quietly, but I didn't expect it to hurt this much. Ada held his face in her hands. Then let's run, she whispered. Let's go far away, anywhere but here. Emeka hesitated. He had nothing, no savings, just dreams and a battered heart. But he looked into her eyes and saw something stronger than fear. He nodded slowly. Give me 2 days, he said. Let me find a way. I'll protect you, Ada. I promise. And in that moment, love became a fire that neither wind nor words could put out. Back home, Ada pretended nothing had changed. She smiled with Chuka during dinner, even laughed when he bragged about his imported shoes. But inside, she was packing hope into a small bag, tucking her dreams between old dresses and hidden letters. Her mother noticed the change, the quiet determination in Ada's eyes, the sudden calm in the storm. That night, as Ada stood by the window, her mother walked in silently. She didn't ask where Ada was going. She just placed a folded wrapper in her hand and whispered, If you must choose love, then go with my blessing. Before dawn, Ada tiptoed out of the house, her small bag strapped tightly to her back. The sky was still dark, the world silent except for the sound of her heartbeat. She looked back once, at the house where she was born, the gate that had always kept her in, and the dream she was finally ready to chase. Emeka was waiting by the old footpath that led to the next village. He had borrowed a motorcycle from a friend and filled the tank with his last savings. When she saw him, Ada ran into his arms, tears mixing with joy. They rode in silence at first, the wind tugging at her scarf, the engine humming like a lullaby. Emeka held the handlebars tightly, his eyes fixed on the road ahead. Behind him, Ada clung to him like her life depended on it. Every tree they passed felt like a goodbye. Every bump in the road, a reminder that love cost something. After an hour, they stopped at a small village near the river, quiet, far from anyone who knew their names. There, they found a kind widow who gave them a small room at the back of her compound. It wasn't much, but to them it was freedom. They slept on a mat that night, under a roof that leaked a little when it rained. There was no electricity, no fancy furniture, but there was peace and each other. Emeka held Ada close, listening to the rain tap gently on the zinc. "Do you regret it?" he asked softly. Ada shook her head and smiled. "If this is what regret feels like, then I want it forever." Outside, the night wrapped them in darkness, but inside, two hearts glowed with something brighter than light. Hope. Weeks turned into months, and Ada's strength returned fully. She and Emeka had fallen into a rhythm. Work, laughter, struggle, and sleep. One afternoon, Ada saw a young boy approaching with a brown envelope. "Are you Ada?" he asked. She nodded cautiously. "Someone gave me this to bring to you," he said, then turned and ran off. Her hands trembled as she opened the envelope. It was a letter, neatly folded, her name written in her mother's delicate handwriting. The letter smelled faintly of home. "My daughter," it began, "I don't know where you are, but I hope you are safe. Your father was furious when he found out you left, but I saw peace on your face that morning. I knew you had chosen love, and for that, I am proud of you. Things have changed. Your father has fallen sick. He asks for you now. He says your name in his sleep. I don't know if it's guilt or regret, but I believe he misses you. If you ever feel ready, come home. Not for forgiveness, but maybe for healing." Ada sat under a tree, staring at the letter for a long time. Emeka joined her, wiping sweat from his brow after a long day. She handed him the letter silently. He read it slowly, his expression unreadable. When he was done, he looked at her. "What do you want to do?" he asked gently. Ada's eyes filled with tears. "I want him to see that love didn't ruin me. I want him to see that I'm not broken." Emeka took her hand and kissed it. "Then we'll go," he said. "Not to prove anything, but to show him the strength of our love." The journey back to Abo felt like walking into a memory. The trees, the dusty roads, even the scent of roasting maize, all of it came rushing back. Ada held Emeka's hand tightly as they approached her family compound. Her heart raced with every step. Would her father speak? Would he send them away? They stopped at the gate. Her mother opened it, eyes wide with surprise, and then tears. She embraced Ada tightly, whispering, "You came." Emeka stood quietly, unsure of his place, until Ada's mother pulled him in too. "Thank you for not giving up on her," she said softly. Inside the house, everything felt the same, but heavier, like the walls held stories that had waited too long to be told. Chief Okafor lay on a bed in the corner of the sitting room, thinner now, his pride softened by illness. His eyes opened slowly when he heard footsteps. When he saw Ada, his lips trembled. "My daughter," he whispered, his voice like paper. Ada knelt by his side, tears spilling freely. "Papa, I'm here," she said. He reached for her hand and held it weakly. Then his eyes met Emeka's. "I was wrong," he said. "Forgive an old man who was too proud to see what really matters." Tears fell freely then, not just from Ada, but from everyone in the room. In that fragile moment, no one spoke of money or class or shame. They only spoke the language of love, the kind that survives distance, defies pride, and heals broken hearts. Days later, with Chief Okafor's blessing, Ada and Emeka had a small wedding in the village. There were no gold rings or loud music, just two people who had fought through storms and found their sunrise. And under that same mango tree where it all began, they whispered new promises, this time not just with dreams, but with proof that love truly conquers all.